Hi class, I want to give you some quick information on writing proposals. So the first question is, what is a proposal? Well, basically a proposal is a plan of something that you're going to do. It's a way to get funding or support in order to carry out that plan. So proposals actually run a pretty wide range, but they're almost always about future work that's not done yet. There's actually a lot of variety in proposals. There's solicited proposals and there's unsolicited proposals. So solicited proposals would be cases where companies or organizations put out a call for proposals or a request for proposals, and they're going to basically spell out some of the things that they're really looking for, and the proposal responds to that other document. There's also lots of cases of unsolicited proposals. These happen pretty often in business, where you might identify a problem that someone else might be encountering and offer the services of your organization in order to help them with that problem. There's also a lot of different types of things that proposals might be talking about, like research or goods and services. So research proposals are very common in academia. They're how a lot of the grant money is received by researchers in order to study different things. So those might be going to the NIH or the NSF or a lot of the other governmental organizations that provide some of the funding to individual researchers. Goods and services proposals might be used in businesses in order to describe how you might help another company solve their problems, how you might help a particular individual solve their problems. It could be suggesting a computers that you're creating, or suggesting ways that your company could provide like landscaping services to someone else. It could be like a wide range of different types of services and goods, but they're used often in order to get those different contracts between different companies. So proposals overall are going to be doing a lot of different things, but the main thing that we really want to think about them as is persuasive documents. Often they're going to be going up against other proposals, so it's really about trying to persuade your reader that your solution, your proposal, is the one that they should select among all of the different proposals, that you need to be competing against these other proposals or these potential other solutions to the same problem. So really think about persuasion, think about trying to convince the reader, think about what the reader needs, really focus in on persuasion and that reader. Focus on, often you need to start a proposal with an idea of what is the problem that you're trying to solve. So often you need to really focus on that significance of the problem. Show them that's a problem that needs to be solved now, that there is something worthwhile doing here. Then you also really want to show them the quality of your solution, that not only do you identify a problem, but that your solution will solve that problem, that your solution is the best way to go about this. Often you also need to convince them that your team is the people to do this, that you know what you're doing, that you have the credibility to carry out this solution, that you will follow through, so you need to be able to show that as well. And then finally, that you're going to be the best choice in terms of money, because proposals are often about monetary support, monetary compensation, so you need to show that you're using that money effectively, that your proposal is going to be the best way to do that for the lowest cost. So proposals vary a lot between different situations, different organizations. An NSF proposal is not the same as an NIH proposal. A proposal that's for goods or services is not the same as a research proposal. They have lots of different parts. They can vary widely in length and complexity. Some of the major governmental proposals are going to be an initial text of about like 15 to 20 pages, and then hundreds of pages of appendices. Other proposals, like the ones that we're going to be working with this week, for smaller amounts of money or for other things, might be only a couple pages long. Goods and services proposals often also are fairly short compared to some different research proposals, because we're trying to deal with the needs of that audience in order to get information quickly. So we could look through the typical parts of the proposal, but also just know that these are going to vary a lot depending on the situation. And so if it is a solicited proposal, you want to go out and see what parts they want. If it's an unsolicited proposal, you want to look at similar types of proposals and really study the genre a little bit in that specific situation that you're encountering. So in this case, it often starts with a summary. This is going to be especially true in long proposals. In short proposals, like 2 pages, 3 pages, you don't usually include a summary. But in long proposals, you need to include a very clear and concise summary to give them all of the information they need. This is not leading on the reader. This is not anything else. So trying to get them to read the entire proposal is giving them the information they need up front so they don't have to read the rest of the proposal if they don't have the time. Then there's an introduction. This often just kind of gives you the scope. This kind of lays out some of the initial groundwork, gives them a little bit of background, things like that. And then it goes directly into a problem statement most of the time. In this case, you're really trying to prove that there is a significant problem that needs to be solved, and really giving them the evidence, the research that backs up the clarity of this problem and the need to solve it. So it's often those two things, that there is a problem that is significant, and that needs to be solved now, not that it's a problem that can be solved later. Then often it goes into project objectives. These can usually be just itemized lists or different things that say specifically what this proposal is going to achieve, what the project that the proposal is suggesting is going to achieve. And it's going to be like, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. And those should generally show you how you can solve that problem, that if all of these objectives are achieved, that problem should be solved. Then you want to go into methods. Methods really start laying out exactly how you're going to achieve those different objectives. So you really want to tie them back to the objectives, but you want to give the detail of how those objectives are going to be achieved specifically. In research, this is often going to be looking at the specific research methods you're going to carry out. In more goods and services, the kind of methods are going to show how you're going to actually produce something, how you're going to carry out that work, how you're going to do stuff like that. Evaluation is often where you're going to see, how are we going to know if those objectives are achieved? How do we know if this proposal and this project is a success? Information like that. Project budget is really, really important in these. Almost every single proposal is going to have a budget somewhere, and you really want a very clear budget that breaks down everything, so there's never going to be any question about where some money is going to. So you want to be able to show that the budget is reflective of good market costs, and then you want to show specific itemized things. You want to clearly identify each of those items and how many you're going to need, and really break it down for people. Often you're going to see this in something like a table, so that it's really clear information, clear numbers. You might include things also in some of these sections like project schedules. You might be including other types of information, such as information about the team. Anything else that the specific proposal is asking for is what you should include. And then finally, there's often appendices. This is typically seen as information that not every reader of the proposal is going to need. It's going to be specific information that specific audiences will be looking for. And there's often a lot of appendices in some longer proposals. Like I said, in some research proposals, the appendices can be much, much, much longer than the actual proposal itself. Okay, so some quick final tips. Remember to really pay attention to your audience. You need to know what that audience needs, what they're interested in, how they're going to be looking at these proposals. Really focus on persuasion. Know that you're going to be going up against a lot of other proposals, so you need to convince them that your choice, that your proposal is the best one among all of those. So it's a really, really persuasive genre. Get to the point. Be concise. So don't go off into unnecessary information. Don't delay the main points of it. Really get to the point, because your readers are often not going to have a lot of time and you need to convince them quickly. Also, really, really, really carefully check your grammar style. This is important because in proposals and a lot of these types of documents, they're going to be looking for any reason to turn down your particular idea. And you might have really great ideas, but if the style and the writing isn't as clear, or if they're seeing some things that might bring into question the effectiveness of your team just through unprofessional writing style, they're probably going to be using that as a reason to downgrade the proposal or get rid of it. And then finally, strongly suggest in proposals, get an outside reader who doesn't know much about the project and start asking them questions. Do some of that kind of usability testing, reader feedback kind of testing. See what they can say about it. Trying to understand try and get them to tell you what they don't understand about the project, because their eyes are going to be able to tell you a lot more than your own. After you've been working with it for a long time, you really understand the project. There's going to be certain things that seem really clear to you that might not be clear to people who have no idea about the project. So those are the final tips. If you want to talk more about proposals, if you are working on proposals in your work, let's have a little bit of conversation on it. I think it's a really important genre and one that can be really impactful in your career. In this unit, we're going to be working with them some more. Thanks. Bye.